allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is a discussion regarding the request of the stewards. The stewards have requested that they be notified that their property be flagged for any construction that surrounds their property. I think there are already policies in place for 100 feet. Is that correct? Would you guys like to come and say something since we're talking about your property?
Thank you. Jeff Stewart, 2899 8th Street. I appreciate you guys taking this matter on. The 100-foot rule is great, except that only would cover property lines that touch my property. The issue at hand is that I'm not going to be notified of any developments further down the road, further down the basin that would possibly drain onto my property. The issue is that the stormwater design standards aren't being followed currently because that's easier. And so being notified ahead of time when there's a development going in on any of the properties in that 14-acre basin would be appreciated.
So you're asking for it to be flagged for that 14.
Anything that discharges stormwater into that drainage basin. Thank you.
Thank you. We need a motion for that.
Yeah. Is that, so how would this go, Jamie? Would you just put that part of your SOP that should any development in its 14 acres, then you would then notify him? How would that work?
I would probably, since I'm not the one dealing directly with those specific areas, I would probably refer that question to our planner. Our plan will be the one that will determine how much of the area will be affected or to what point. But more than likely that will come to my attention also.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do is make sure that you signed up for the planning commission and city council to receive those agendas, because the public hearings are going to be noticed on those agendas. So you can see if that particular public hearing was going to relate to the property.
So you're talking about doing that in addition to this other thing?
Flagging.
In addition to the flagging? Okay.
Can I get a motion?
So I make a motion that we direct the city planner to flag any development that's in the 14-acre boundary of the Stewart's property.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Discussion regarding extension of Marion County Sheriff's contract regarding interim police chief position. That position contract expires July 31st, 2017.
I want to start off by just reading my comments. I wrote them down just because I wanted to be able to stay on track. So I'm going to take my couple minutes to just give my opinion
On the extension of the contract?
and on the interim police chief position. Okay. Okay. So I said I'm going to read my statement so I can make it clear and I don't skip anything I would like to say. First of all, I would like to make the motion that we put all of this to an end and hire our own police force. I believe this has been going on long enough and has done enough damage to our city. I am saddened every day when I go onto the city's Facebook page and it is filled with fighting among our citizens. This has turned our citizens against each other and has ruined friendships, even some of my own. When the city is interested in contract with the county, they are in some sort of strife and they contact the county. Neither one of these are the case here. Our police force was not and is not in strife, and we did not contact the county. The county came to us using figures they obtained by working for us in an intern fashion and helping us with our year-end budget. I personally, and I say personally, feel that this is unethical and never should have happened in the first place. What we were told by our interim chief is that the county could save us $200,000 after the county gave us their presentation. I have worked on comparison of my own, and I don't see where that savings is. In fact, I don't see much of a savings at all, and if there is one, it is small. However, this was not supposed to be about budget at all, even though it was brought by the interim chief as a budget issue. So, if it's not a budget issue, and that's the case, we have to look at what the county can provide us with better service than we already receive. I don't feel the need to rehash all of the reasons at this point, and I don't feel like I can. We can, however, look at some of the major issues like losing local control, having our hometown officers who care more about our community, and response time. One of the major issues that caught my attention at the meeting on the 22nd was when Marion County Sheriff's Officer was asked what they had to gain by coming and taking control of Hubbard's police force. At that meeting, Marion County Officer said that he had nothing to gain by taking over our city. If we contract with Marion County, we have to pay Metcom for our next year's contract approximately $73,000. I have recently heard rumors that Marion County may be willing to absorb this cost. So if they have nothing to gain and are willing to absorb such a large cost, why is that? It should have been clear to Marion County during the meeting on the 22nd with the 130 citizens, except for one, who were in favor of keeping the Hubbard police. Why would you continue to try to come to a place where you would not want to? It does not make sense to me. The city council is elected to serve the members of the community, not ourselves. When this issue of marijuana was brought before the city council, I, for one, was not in favor of having this in our city. Some of the other city council members were in favor of having it in the city, and at that point, we decided to take the issue to the ballot because of this. It was the vote of the citizens. This is much more important than an issue of marijuana, and the citizens should have their voices heard. If we cannot agree to move forward with hiring our own police force, then we need to move forward with getting this on the ballot tonight. We have a deadline of August 18th to get all of the paperwork turned in, so we can no longer continue to put this off. I know the mayor herself signed the petition to have this on the ballot, along with 79 other residents of Hubbard. So this is a dire.
On that note, I also have a prepared statement. This has been a complicated and passionate issue in our community. I've tried to remain neutral on the issue and not form opinions before I get all the information necessary for a good decision. No matter the direction we take, it comes to down the police services, accountability and transparency, something we have not had in our police department for a long time. In the past, our city council has been unaware and disengaged. Our police department insulated itself and was unconnected at the levels expected of a law enforcement agency today. Employees did not have the ability to grow professionally. What I appreciated about Marion County's presentation was their professionalism, their reputation as a law enforcement agency, their active commitment and foresight to professional growth, the depth and scope of services they could offer our community. What I appreciate about Hubbard PD's presentation was their commitment to the community, their length of service, and I have always preferred local control. My dilemma was and has been, how do we fact find and then find the middle ground on this issue? We need to institutionalize accountability and transparency. That's a two-way street. We need an actively engaged council, we need actively engaged citizens, we need a police department with that same commitment from the top down. That has not been present. Both are essential, or all three are essential. The second part of finding that middle ground is that we maximize local control without accountability and transparency. So how do we all walk away feeling as though our needs are met and take pride and ownership with what we are building? My proposal is two parts. We restart the process to hire a police chief. That achieves the goal of local control. We initiate a simultaneous thorough audit of our police services by a consultant or outside agency. This would ensure that the new chief will come in knowing the issues and opportunities. This establishes the necessary accountability. Together, the council and a new chief can initiate the necessary changes to meet Hubbard's needs. Together, we can build on our strengths, rebuild our ranks, and get to work. I'd like to make a motion to restart the hiring process for a police chief and initiate a simultaneous audit of the Hubbard Police Department. You already have a motion? I'm sorry. Okay. Can you read your motion again?
I said, my motion was to, basically, almost the same as yours, that we put an end to this and hire our own police force. So I guess we were on the same page except for the issue of the consultant. So I guess that's, where.
And it's interesting we both brought prepared documents saying the same thing. You seconded her motion? How do we handle adding to that motion?
You can seek to amend the motion with the consent of the motion maker.
I would like to amend your motion to initiate an audit of the current services. Second?
Well, so no, so if you accept as a friendly amount, then Barb, who seconded the motion, will take those up.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I would like to address the comment made about ethical. Yes,
Sorry, was there anybody that was opposed, anything was in favor, anything there were any?
who all was in favor?
I didn't answer,
So
which is consent.
Barb,
Which is consent. I didn't say yay, but it's consent.
I think we can have a further discussion on this issue. I do want to address the concerns about, or the comment that you made about ethical. When we hire executive staff, their job is to look for cost savings. He was within the parameters of his job, and that is what other governmental agencies do. So it is not an ethical issue. I understand that
It's
that is your
fine,
opinion.
and we don't need to, this, I don't think that this is the time or space to.
Well, it is their reputation, and that was said, and I wanted to address that issue.
And that's fine, if that's your opinion, and my opinion was that it's not ethical for somebody to come into somebody's place of work, take a look at their numbers, because you have that data, then go to their person that works for them and say, oh, I can save you $200,000 because now I know what your numbers are. I have my numbers. So I can save you this money. I know this because I came into your place of business. And those numbers weren't even true. So there was no $200,000 savings there to begin with. So that $200,000 number got this whole thing started when that whole thing shouldn't have been placed out there in the first place. So to me, if it was a working place of business and I had somebody come in, it doesn't seem like that whole thing should have happened. But again, that's my opinion. So it's solely my opinion, and it's neither here nor there.
If this was a, I
Nobody
agree
has to
with-
say that that's right or wrong, and we don't need to argue it.
I'm
It's
not gonna-
simply
I'm
my
not gonna
opinion.
argue it. If I would agree with you if this was a for-profit business, absolutely, you would be correct. But all they're basically doing is giving this to us at cost, right? And the numbers that I came up with, using both the last year's budget and the new budget, and using the average between those two, I came up with a cost savings anywhere from $113,000 to $290,000, depending on the level of service.
I have the exact, I guess we can sit down and look at the budget numbers if you want to. I came up with
It
one
does- but that
myself.
is- that
At
point
this
is moot
point,
at this point. It's
let's
moot
move,
at this point.
let's try to move forward. We've had
Yes.
enough
And
dissent.
we have.
I would like us
I
to move forward.
Just, yes, so that was my point, and maybe it didn't need to be made, but I did just feel, to me, that just didn't feel right.
Thank you.
So, thank you, appreciate it.
We do need to discuss what we were going to do in the meantime, and that needs to be part of this discussion. We need to consider, actually, I will let the Sheriff's Department speak regarding the contract extension, whether that's even possible at this point. We also have on our agenda for a temporary sergeant and deputy. Can we get your input on that, those issues?
I honestly think a working sergeant would be a much better position to help out the officers. It'd be better use of funds by far, in my opinion, to have them come up and do that. I will still help as needed, the council, the city, to help set up your process, whoever you want on your interview panel, anything of that nature. But the big one is, I guess, that we do want a sergeant to be able to come up there and help. As far as the deputy, I see several issues on that from the standpoint of contract, because we have the two officers here, we have to abide by their contract. They have first right of overtime. But then again, just like the Marion County deputy, we have to look at the standpoint of the contract we have with them. We have to assign them a shift. And so that, who would take precedence? So that's where the gray area comes up. And I'd have to refer, I guess, to the undersheriff as far as any comments on that.
And so this sergeant would be like, he'd be a working sergeant, right?
Correct.
Right, okay. And so, I know I had asked, I can't remember who I asked somebody in the sheriff's department about what that looks like if we would have contracted with Marion County. And basically, he came up with a number of like 35% of the time is dedicated to management. So to me, that says that 65% of the time, the sergeant would be on the road or whatever. Does that sound accurate in this situation?
That does.
Okay, great.
Troy, would you like to speak about can we get your advice on the deputy, the temporary?
Sure. Madam Mayor and members of the council, thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Troy Clausen. I'm the undersheriff for Marion County, and I wasn't here during the presentation in June because I was sick, but better now. And first off, I would like to say that you guys have made a wise decision for your particular community tonight to the previous motion based on the things that I've heard and continue to hear with regard to the city. Basically, democratic processes are difficult and sometimes hard to get through, but at the end of the day, both the sheriff and myself feel that the community of Hubbard needs to make a decision for what's best for your guys' community. And if that was to go with the sheriff's office, we would be here in every way possible that we could. And if it's to go with a chief of police and your own police department, then we'll support you 1,000% with that and be there to help out in any way we can with those situations as well. So just know that that's our commitment to continue to do that. With regard to extending the contract and those services, I believe that a sergeant's position, specifically it would be our contracts sergeant, Dawn Parisi, who actually has experience working with the city of Jefferson, the city of Sublimity, with Chamawa Indian School, and a whole host of other issues. Dawn would be the person that we would bring up to take over in the interim for Jerry in the role that he's provided as your interim chief for as long as you would want that to happen until you select one yourself. And then for the matter of another deputy's presence, taking into consideration what Jerry mentioned as the interim chief right now, the current contract that we would need to abide by for the city, and then our own contractual issues with our employees themselves, it would probably be better if we looked at potentially contracting under overtime to take a look at whatever shifts they weren't able to fill or what other additional times that you would like to have covered. And we could put that out in overtime first to your officers already. If they didn't want the shift, then we could fill that with the deputy's position in the interim until your chief's on and you look at how you want to fill the vacancies that you have. And we would work with you that way to deal with those issues. So that's basically where we'd be at.
Thank you for filling those gaps.
You bet.
How do you guys feel about that?
Absolutely.
I had originally put on the agenda to request consultant services. I had made several calls and it was $25,000 and up, and I did not feel at that time. The reason I wanted to contract, to get a consultant in here, was to assess the situation from a neutral party's point of view. I wanted someone that had no dog in the fight no emotion, just coming in, getting the facts, interviewing both sides, looking at our stats, looking at interviewing the DA's office, surrounding agencies, but it was just too expensive. And that is why I had to assess what we needed at this time. We have needs and we need to work on those, and we need to do that now, and I didn't feel that putting it off was going to do anyone any good. I would like us to still have a meeting next Monday so that we can discuss some of the concerns that we have heard and have everything, maybe the questions that the community has had answered more thoroughly. So I would like to still have that meeting if you guys are all in favor of that still.
It's 5:30.
I believe it's at 5:30, correct? Okay. Is there anything else we need to discuss? Brad, I know that you had some concerns that you wanted to bring up.
It can wait until that meeting.
Okay, what about you guys? Are you okay moving on to the next agenda item? Okay. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. So do you want staff to renegotiate the agreement with Marion County to potentially bring it back to you next Monday? Is that the direction we're receiving?
That's what it sounds like. I'm sorry that we weren't clear. It sounds like council would like us to extend that contract and work with the county to fill in those gaps until we can hire.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
We need to look at that, as far as the deputy goes, at a union, for
That's
the
what was
union.
mentioned.
Okay, I misunderstood, so I don't mean any disrespect, I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, thank you.
The next item on our agenda is discussion regarding the administrative assistant to the police chief. Sounds like we've taken care of that, and
Easy one.
so can I get a motion?
I'm sorry, what did I miss here?
The police chief assistant,
Yes.
So we need a motion.
she is necessary.
We need a motion to hire
You need a motion to
for
hire.
Vicky to put her post. I'll make a motion for Vicky to post the administrative assistant to the police chief position.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I don't have any mayor's presentations. What about council?
I would just like to say I'm very glad we got this, and I appreciate everybody's work. I appreciate everybody coming, and I'm glad to see another packed house here tonight, and I'm glad that the citizens care about the police. So, thanks everybody, thank you.
You have to keep coming.
Yeah, now you're locked in.
You're locked in. We know who you are. You have to keep coming.
Yes.
So my understanding is we're moving forward with the police chief process.
Yes.
So we have applicants out there, so do you want me to contact them? Do you guys want to set up interviews?
I would like for us to have an interview process with council, and I think we need to get maybe 2 outside agency representatives locally. And I would also like to ask possibly a business owner that really hasn't had the dog in the fight. I had someone in mind. I can run it by you guys. Nissa Berkey has remained very neutral. They contribute very much to our community, and I thought that she would be very appropriate to help us with interviews and speak for the citizens and as business owner. She was great. Yes.
How about Sharon? So how do you think people should apply to? Would we like to
we have
applications in.
Well, we already have applications, right?
Monday.
We already
Can I make a
have
suggestion?
applications.
Just, okay. Dan Olvin from Olvin Forging.
Take your meeting.
You've been recruited to play
Oh,
Well, I think it's something we need to talk about more.
I would just, yeah, Dan Alvin with the Alvin Companies, business owner here in town. If, if nominated, we would be more than happy to be part of the process.
Fantastic, thank you. Any other suggestions? So we have 2 nominations from what was seen as opposing viewpoints. Maybe we should get some, put it out there and get some other names.
Yep, anybody who's interested, I don't have, I mean, it's not a decision that would take a long time. We can
No.
just say anybody who's interested, and then on Monday, we could, I mean, Mr. Olvin, I know, has been involved in other things. I know when he was here during the county, what was the meeting that,
Yeah, we're talking about the, with the county commissioners.
county commissioners, so, I know he was at that meeting as well, so,
Okay.
so it's just, if somebody's interested, then sure, if they'd like to let us know.
Are you able to take names of people? Council members, what do you guys have your thoughts?
I'm fine with either person, as far as I know, both for control, so, that's great. So I think you should, contact these applicants that we've already got to make sure that they're still in the, and if they are, then we should be able to review those resumes on Monday so that we can decide who we would like to interview.
That would be an executive session, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and there's a process that we have to follow before you can go into executive session, so we'll work with Vicki to make sure that we can get all that in place for your agenda next Monday. And so then you may need to adopt certain standards first and then have an executive session after that. That makes sense.
Okay.
So, this is like taking way too long, but, so we're gonna do, if we're gonna do a board interview, so you wanted to, so we'd have the city council, we'd have somebody from a business owner, and then 2 people
From outside agencies.
from outside agencies.
Do you guys have suggestions
As,
to outside agencies and perhaps, I think they should be surrounding area or people that have interactions with Hubbard.
So it's,
Maybe like the Woodburn.
yeah,
Woodburn Police Chief
Woodburn,
or
yes.
Fire Chief.
yeah,
Okay.
police chief if he's willing to do that.
Vicki, would you mind contacting Chief Ferreras?
Yeah, I would like to have somebody here who knows the questions
well, see,
to
that's what
ask.
I'm at, that's why I just wanted to kind of get this, like, we need to get this narrowed down as far as who we might be trying to.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can think about that, run through our heads, and maybe get on an email if we can.
Is that okay to make those submissions to you guys as long as we don't reply all and violate meetings laws?
I individually send them to Vicki,
Yeah.
and then Vicki can
We can
contact
get
people and see who might be
Okay.
If we
available.
get some ideas that we aren't thinking of right here and right now.
Are you willing to negotiate that? Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is that permissible? I'm not familiar with how long the 2 officers that are here have been doing the job that they have. Has anybody broached the subject with them? They've got, service in their history to maybe apply for chief themselves?
It's been open and they know it's been open and they are free to apply. As a matter of fact, I think that was brought up at the last meeting as well, to just reiterate that
I don't
point.
know if that's a dumb question, but it seems
No,
like a
no
smart-
dumb
a
questions,
smart
especially about
thing to
this issue.
consider since they are already
Yeah.
invested in the city.
And